just via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Welcome to Millennium News 24/7 Daily Local News Update. I'm with you, Jasmine McTague, live from Jersey City, New Jersey, watching the news headlines. And now the details at this time. Our first story. One man was killed in a 2-alarm fire that tore through an East Village apartment complex. The fire broke out on the 4th floor of the Nacha Run Risk houses on Avenue D at around 7:15 a.m. on Thursday. Citizens' app video captured flames shooting out of the windows of the building. Residents say there was a large explosion before the fire and smoke. A 32-year-old man was discovered dead in the apartment by firefighters. Fire officials say he was trapped in the rear room. A 46-year-old woman was taken to the Cornell Burn Unit at New York Presbyterian Hospital in critical condition. A 13-year-old boy and an 18-year-old woman were treated for smoke inhalation and burns after they climbed down the exterior poles of the building to safety. Videos show them shimmering down a pole and scaling the sides of the building to save their own lives as neighbors watched in horror. They were about to jump out the window, but everyone kept telling them to hold on. So when they held on, they got onto the side of the pole and they started sliding down. And those kids, they made it down. Neighbor Tashaka Owens said, "They are said to be stable. 4 others suffered minor injuries." Multiple electric bicycles were found in the fire apartment, and fire marshals are looking into the possibility that they sparked the fire. And now for story 2. Tyler Perry was involved in a car accident in Los Angeles, California, Wednesday night, December 15th, minutes after leaving an airport. Thankfully, no injuries were reported from the crash, multiple outlets confirmed. The media mogul was driving home through Sherman Oaks in his Bentley truck just after leaving Burbank Airport when a Honda Accord reportedly crossed 3 lanes of traffic. The maneuver caused Perry to slam into the other driver, who later admitted to causing the accident. Photos of the accident circulated online showing visible damage to the front of the movie studio owner's white Bentley truck. No one went to the hospital after the accident, police told TMZ. Law enforcement sources also confirmed that the media outlet that the incident wasn't enough to make a public police report, and that everything between the parties will be handled privately. And now, for story 3. I'm not sure what I expected to hear when I called up Kat Brooks, co-founder of Oakland's anti-police terror project, but it sure wasn't that. Like her, I've been watching with growing unease as supposedly progressive politicians have returned to the knee-jerk tough on crime policies and rhetorics of California's past, swearing it is the only way to slow a string of brazen robberies and homicides. First, there was Mayor Eric Garcetti, who at news conference earlier this month talked about adding more police officers in Los Angeles and about ditching the zero bail policies that were enacted during the worst of the COVID-19 pandemic. Then in San Francisco this week, Mayor London Breed called a news conference to make a show of wanting to flood the long troubled Tenderloin district with cops. It is time to reign of criminals who are destroying our cities comes to an end, she said. And it comes to an end when we take the steps to be more aggressive with law enforcement, more aggressive with the changes in our policies, and less tolerant of all the bull that has destroyed our city. Notably, the crackdown will include targeting people who are not only selling drugs, but using them. Because criminalizing addiction has always worked so well, and not to be left out, Oakland's mayor, Libby Sheriff, has asked Governor Gavin Newsom to send in the California Highway Patrol. She also wants installed Big Brother style license plates readers along freeways because people who commit crimes are often using stolen vehicles. Such technology can multiply law enforcement efforts in a focused, intelligent based manner while still balancing the important privacy interests of the community. Sheriff wrote Newsroom. This is on top of the Oakland City Council recent discussion to add two police academies in hope of recruiting more sworn officers to the department. That's the smallest it has been in decades. Brooke is outraged and disappointed, but not surprised. For months after George Floyd was murdered by police in Minneapolis in May 2020, she and other activists had many Americans convinced that the law enforcement agencies were utterly broken, steeped in racism, and dire need of reform. The call to invest in Black communities and right the wrong of systematic racism were at an all-time high. In fact, a year ago this month, I published a column about the widespread embrace of Black Lives Matter. Turning a moment to the moments it is hurt, I wrote, but not half as hard as sustaining it. Brooks understood this better than most, and as an activist known for her work after the 2009 shooting of Oscar Grant by a BART police officer, she has watched the whims of the public and the politicians shift up close. A recent poll from Pew Research Center found that certain over violent crimes has led to a spike in the numbers of Americans who want more money to be spent on police in their cities. And now for story 4. I am just a little baffled as to what it is and what's going. Neighbor Reginald Millies said, being a native Atlantean and growing up in this area, nothing surprises you with the high rate of crime now. Nothing is surprising. Wilfon watched as Atlanta police investigated what they determined was a homicide in Anderson Park. Someone called police after spotting a woman's body in the woods around 3:30 p.m. Thursday. At this point, it is very early in the investigation, but we have determined that there is a young lady between the ages of 20 and 25 years old that has been confirmed deceased at this point. We are determining that this is a homicide based on some of the inventory items that we recovered in the scene. Lieutenant Ralph Wolfark of the Atlanta Police Department side. And now, a short break from the daily English news of Millennium News 24/7. Stay tuned.